Hello, hello, welcome. Hi everyone, welcome on board. I'm a strong lady, my general. Welcome, Mama. Hi, Bronhida. I'm a strong. Welcome. Hello, Lizette. Welcome on board. Welcome, Amber Strong ladies. Thank you, Mom. I'm trying to share that as well. Hi, Elle. Welcome. Oh God, I need to share this. The network is really crazy. Hello, Chalan. Welcome on board. Kindly invite and share. Let's have some few people on and we'll start. Hello, Supo, and Fosong. Welcome on board. Hey, come on. What's this? Come on. I'm really struggling to share this thing, but the network keeps disturbing, so I just have to share it on my page. Oh, great. Finally. Hello. Welcome. And kindly just invite your friends and share. Let's start. Let's get the national anthem. Amber Lion, welcome on board. Good to have you. Oh, Lucas is live. Okay, this is good. Okay, guys, welcome on board. Welcome, and I'll be starting in the next 2 minutes. I just get ready with the national anthem, and after that we're gonna start right away. I had no idea Luke will be coming on live as well, so however we're gonna continue. Marcel Chefru, welcome on board. Good to have you. Just get the national anthem. Patriotic salute, Amber Strongest, Erica. Welcome, my iron lady. Okay. I think we can start with the national anthem while we're waiting on others to join us. We can as well just start with the anthem. IG Antidote. Welcome on board, comrade. Welcome on board. Okay, guys, I'm just going to play the national anthem now so we can just start right away. We the Ambazonians pledge our loyalty. Praise the Son, our Savior, who granted us a freedom. Allegiance to the heroes who bought the land with their blood. Glory, glory, we rise and never to fall. Yea, in a nation flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making a nation a joy forevermore. Amazon, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of His nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of His nation. Whew. Thank you, guys. Thank you for making out time to be with me this evening. So good evening to you all who are in Europe, and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you very much for taking out time to be with me this evening. I'm not going to be long today. I just wanted us to have a discussion on what the happenings of the week, and also to further throw more light on my last outing concerning AGC's achievements, the progress that the AGC has done thus far, and many others. So it's not going to be long. It's not going to be a long session today. But before we start, I just want to use this opportunity to appreciate our mothers, our fathers on the ground who on a daily basis are actually facing persecution from the brutal and barbaric forces of La République du Cameroon. How they are surviving it, we can only say thanks to God for protecting them. We also want to use this opportunity to thank or to appreciate and to give a patriotic salute to all our comrades on the ground, the foot soldiers. They are actually the ones holding this revolution and keeping it alive. There is no Ambazonian revolution without the foot soldiers on the ground. So I just want to say thank you for your steadfastness. Thank you for this determination. You honestly want to see a free homeland for the future generation. You indeed want to bequeath to the future generation a free homeland, because if not of that determination and that zealousness to come out of slavery, most of you would have abandoned the den guns you're holding to fight against warships, AK-47 and all sophisticated type of weapons that these people are using against you. It is only a people who are determined, who really know what they want, that they are actually able to still resist a force like that of La République. Our collective determination is what is keeping this struggle alive. And I really want to thank you guys on the ground. You're doing great. We are forever indebted in gratitude to you all, because honestly speaking, if you want to put an end to this today, it's just like a good morning, but you still stand your ground. So we want to say thank you for standing steadfast, and thank you for your determination and your tenacity. I just also want to use this opportunity, guys, to, if we could just give a moment of silence in honor of all those that were slain, that were slaughtered in Awing and in Kupe Maninguba. If we could just take a moment of silence to honor these our foreign heroes, we will all appreciate that. So let's give them a moment of silence. Thank you so much for that moment. And I also want to use this opportunity to appreciate our heroes who are still held in the various dungeons of La République du Cameroon. They are still fighting. They've not given up. Most of them have been approached on several occasions to actually sell this struggle. But they understand the plight of our mothers. They understand the plight of our parents. They understand the suffering of our people. They have lifted, and they know that there can be there is nothing that can actually equate freedom for the people of Ambazonia. So no amount of money is enough for them to sell this struggle to the enemy. So we can never really appreciate them enough for what they are doing. So comrades in jail, comrades who are suffering, those who are in the various refugee camps, those in the internally displaced persons, those in the hospitals, we want to say thank you. We understand your pain, and we thank you for the sacrifices that you're making to see a free homeland for Ambazonia. I also want to use this opportunity to thank the leadership of the AGC, the Ambazonian Governing Council. I beg your pardon. The Ambazonian Governing Council. I want to thank the hierarchy of the Ambazonian Governing Council, the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council, Dr. Cholukas Ayaba, and the entire cabinet, and all those that are putting in their best. I want to salute the defense chairman for the incredible job he's doing on ground zero, and every member of the AGC, the supporters, those wherever they are. I say thank you for the continuous sacrifices that we are doing to make sure that homeland is free. So today we just want to look at the Ambazonian Governing Council as a political entity in the Ambazonian revolution. What it has done, what it stands for, and what it can actually offer the people of Ambazonia, what it can actually do to make sure that Ambazonia actually gets a free homeland. Fellow comrades, I want to say a lot has happened within the week. A lot has happened within the week. There's been a lot of noise. So much has been revealed to Ambazonians in course of the week. But even amidst this distraction, I just want us to still be focused and know that the Ambazonian Governing Council is a movement that has never for once shifted from its position, from its original position. What is it that we have done? What is it that the Ambazonian Governing Council has done? I want to say the Ambazonian Governing Council, through its leadership, Dr. Cho Ayaba, we can all testify to the fact that Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has been consistent in whatever he does, in his policies, in his position. For the freedom of Ambazonia, he has never changed. He has stood for one thing and one thing only: the total liberation of Ambazonia, the outright independence of Ambazonia. The day he took up that leadership, the mantle, to be the leader of the Ambazonian Governing Council, he knew there was no turning back for him. The only thing he wants to bequeath to Ambazonians and to the future generation is a free land for Ambazonia, a free homeland. And since that time to date, he has not changed. He has not relented his efforts to make sure that the Ambazonian Governing Council works tirelessly to look for avenues on how we can actually liberate our homeland from the occupier. AGC, since it came up, since it started with the Ambazonian Revolution, we can best attest to what it has done. When Dr. Ochoa Yaba went to New York and spoke about the block and introduced the block-by-block mechanism, he brought that to the people, to the knowledge of the people, because he knew that until we change the mindset of our people and make them believe in their own freedom, and also to make our people to understand that even though we are all yearning for freedom, it's never going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be a very long way where we are going to have enemies on the line, betrayers on the line, distractors along the way. But those who are determined and stay steadfast will surely, or those who even understand what it means to run a revolution or to be in a revolution like us, will surely take this revolution, they will persecute this revolution to its ultimate end. And since that time, the Ambazonian Governing Council has been working tirelessly to internationalize our case, to make sure that Ground Zero becomes ungovernable, to make sure that they inflict a cause of occupation, they inflict economic sabotage on the occupier in our territory. We chase them out of our territory, we own our territory, and we control our territory. And thus far, he talked about making Ambazonia ungovernable. We introduced the block-by-block mechanism. The Ambazonian Governing Council, through its leadership, introduced the block-by-block mechanism. It taught Ambazonians on the ground, even the smallest of a child on the ground, knows what it is, knows what is block by block. He knows that he will gain independence from La Republique by occupying their own block, by taking control of their own block and owning their own block. When they own their own block, they will fight with their neighbors to make sure that neighbors' block is also liberated. Once they do that, they continue, and block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, Ambazonia will completely be freed from the occupation of the occupier. And these are things that have been consistent. He brought about, he said, the enemy we are dealing with. The Ambazonian Governing Council had laid down a strategy to let the people know that you are dealing with a monster. The person you are dealing with is somebody, is someone who will not want to sit on the table and dialogue with you. For those who thought that dialoguing or through just trying to protest is going to give us freedom, because La Republique, what the kind of relationship we have with La Republique du Cameroon is a master-slave relationship. They consider us as the slaves. So no master will sit and talk with the slave on the same table. They don't dialogue. They use brute force to make sure that they use brute force to implement their own policies. They don't sit to talk with you, to understand your own position. They impose on you. And the Ambazonian Governing Council, before coming to talk to our people, already knew these things because they have lived it. The leader of the Ambazonian Governing Council had lived this experience. He knows the occupier. He knows how to make the occupier sit on the table and dialogue. He knows what to do to make sure that the occupier listens when we are talking. And that strategy is what he came out and defined in New York. He brought out, he has a whole roadmap that was put forth to the people of Ambazonia, that if we follow this step by step, before long we will all be singing triumph and entering Boya. But we also knew that in a revolution like us, we will always have distractors, and we were ready for it. So it is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and we are ongoing. What am I trying to say? The Ambazonian Governing Council, since its inception in this revolution, has stood the test of time. It has been consistent in its policies, in its position, and The track records are there for everybody to see. The track records are there for everybody to see. We have not changed our position from the time we entered the revolution. The Ambazonian Governing Council has not done that. We have been consistent. We said we have to mobilize our people. We have to mobilize our people, because if our people are mobilized and they are free, they are free from the mental slavery of La République, and they now adopt a new mindset of having a free homeland of their own. That is even a way to go. We have mobilized our people. We have educated our people. We have taught them the reason why they have to stand up and fight against the occupier and reclaim that which is theirs. But along the line, those who have taken the Ambazonian revolution, instead of allowing those people who understand what a revolution is and how revolutions are run, because we are so gullible, because we think that a government is what we want, we allow ourselves to be deceived by people who are using the Ambazonian revolution as an experimental ground to experiment policies that are not workable in any revolution ever that we have seen or studied. The Ambazonian Governing Council has always told our people to be focused. We came up and we said, let us bleed the occupier. We can always have 100 groups in the revolution. That is fine. We have not disputed that fact. But what we are trying to tell our people is that stay focused. Don't allow yourself to be sweet talk. Don't allow people to sugarcoat things and tell you and make you feel this is what is going to work, and deceive you to putting your money where it's not going to help our people. We, in the past 2 years, have allowed ourselves to be deceived by people who come and sweet talk us, and we think they have a solution to us, whereas they have nothing to offer to our people. All what they have offered to our people is nothing but pain. Their distraction has caused the lives of our people. Their distraction has caused the lives of our people, because if they had allowed those who understood how revolutions are run to run the revolution, the number of death that we've recorded in these 2 years wouldn't have been the same. When we started with the block by block, everything was moving on smoothly until distractors who were trying to compete or trying to prove a point step in, destabilize our fighting ranks on ground zero, trying to consolidate, trying to prove themselves to be the leading movement rather than fighting against the enemy that is killing our people. We have seen how money has been swindled in this revolution. We have read reports in the last weeks or in the last days about how much money has been raised. But we have also seen the number of deaths that have been recorded on the ground for simple reason that our guys do not have materials to stand and fight. The Ambazonian Governing Council has brought about the internationalization of our case. We have worked tirelessly, moving from one country to another. The leadership of the Governing Council is not sleeping to make sure that our people are free. But what do we get? They use it to mock the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council. But that notwithstanding, because the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council understands what is needed on the ground, they have not stopped what they are doing behind the scenes to make sure that our people are liberated. What in essence am I trying to say? I am only calling on Ambazonians to sit, reflect, and ask themselves questions. What do we want? Do you want to keep following the people who will come and sweet talk you, extort money from you, use it on their own personal gains, for their own interests, while you bleed on the ground, while the enemy murder and massacre our young men on the ground? Is this what we want for the revolution? We have been on this for the past 2 years. The money that has been raised in this revolution is enough money to have bought us enough AK-47s that would have prevented the death of our young men in Ambazonia. Do you want to keep putting your money where you will see no result? Those who have been contributing to the Ambazonian Defense Forces or to the Ambazonian Governing Council, we have the result out there to prove to you people that we are a reliable institution. We are able to account to our people, and that you can trust in the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council and its leader. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has always been consistent. If there is a time that he has moved from his original position to another, of course we all have the records out there that can prove this position. When we introduced the idea of self-defense, the need for us to self-defend ourselves, this was well accepted and was moving on smoothly until when we allowed politicians to step in and begin to derail our struggle, trying to consolidate their position, trying to make their voices heard, trying to control power, and in course of doing that, inflicted pain on our people. The pain that La Republique was inflicting on our people on the ground, they brought even double of what La Republique was inflicting on our people, because they brought confusion in the camps of our guys who voluntarily decided to pick up arms and defend themselves and defend their parents. The Ambazonian Governing Council, we are saying that look up to the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council. It has not failed you. It has presented to you policies that they are implementing. They are able to take Ambazonians, to present Ambazonians before the international community, present the case of Ambazonian before the international community, and these evidences are there. It was the Ambazonian Governing Council that actually brought us to the limelight when we got the readmission of Ambazonia into UMPO. We didn't go out there asking for Ambazonians to bring us money to go register ourselves to UMPO, because the Ambazonian Governing Council understood the importance of internationalizing our case, taking it from the domestic realm to an international fair. That is why we saw the need for us to go back into UMPO and make sure that this case is taken to the United Nations. Let's not forget what UMPO does. It represents unrepresented people, where they don't have seats within the UN to table their cases before the United Nations. It brings you in contact with other international organizations, takes you to before the various United Nations human rights agencies, where you can best articulate your case and make your case heard before the war. And we have been doing this successfully. The leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council promised the people of Ambazonia that we will make sure that Ambazonia becomes a contender. And if we are today celebrating the contenderhood, the international contenderhood of Ambazonia, that is because the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council has not been sleeping. Despite the little that they receive, despite the little that they have, despite stretching themselves day and night to make sure that they stay on course, they have not stopped, and they have continued bringing the Ambazonian case to the limelight. Today we are talking about securing people's countries to rise and support Ambazonia, to make sure La Republique pays for the 57 years of extortion in Ambazonia, or the suffering of the people of Ambazonia. Where are we heading to? There is a lot of distraction. People get distracted. They don't focus. What do we want to achieve right now? Do you want to keep on putting your money depending on people who do not have a strategy to take you to the freedom that you are all yearning for? Is that what you want? At times when I look at what is happening within the Ambazonian revolution, I honestly feel sorry, and I remember what one of my lecturer in the university used to say. I remember when I sit under Professor Ngwafo, he would tell you, why do you want to go to private classes when you can come and tap from the spring of life itself? You don't need to go and get second-hand material from private classes. Here is the spring of life. Tap from the spring of life, where you can get direction. The Ambazonian Governing Council is providing us that opportunity where we can redirect this revolution, where we can control where we can actually guide our people, get focused, and take our people to Boya. It has created the international connections. It has changed the minds of our people on the ground, instill in our people that spirit of determination to make sure that they fight to the last man standing to defend themselves, defend their homeland, and free their people from the slavery of La Republic. It has given you that direction. It is preparing, it has given you the weapon that you need to fight for yourself. So we are calling on Ambazonians to rise and stop this madness of a government. We do not need a government at this stage of the revolution. Rally behind those people that you have seen that they are capable of taking you to where you want to be. If you want to keep on being a slave in this age, we are saying that we will remain like this forever. But if you truly understand the suffering on ground zero, if you truly understand the pain of our parents on the ground, if you are truly concerned about the killings, about the endless death of our young men on ground zero, then you will rise and make a decision. You will rise and rally yourself behind the people that you know that can redirect this revolution and take us to the promised land. We have the tools, we have the competence, we have the leadership that can actually redirect the revolution and take Ambazonians to the finish line. So we are calling on Ambazonians. Step out of that zone of depending on a government when there is nothing like a government. You have spent money, you have put in hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars as a matter of fact, but not a single AK has been brought to the fighters on the ground. Our boys die on the ground every day because they lack AK. We have these evidences. We have the likes of Mark Baratas, who are advocates of IG. They came out and confessed it that even in the various county by county that they've been preaching and deraying the block by block that was that our people adopted, none of these counties even have even a single AK. None of them can really stand and boast of a single AK, despite the money they have collected from Ambazonians with the claim of buying materials for our guys on the ground. What they have done is instill fighting amongst our fighting guys on the ground, hatred for each other, causing our guys to raise the barrels of their guns against each other, killing one another. Those Amba fighters who are real fighters, what they have done is eliminate them because they have an agenda for this revolution. But we want to say that that will not work anymore. We have seen a lot of suffering on the ground. We have seen our parents bury their own children. We've seen our people suffering in bushes. Even those who ran away from their homes are now being pursued in the various bushes and being killed there. We saw what happened in Awing 2 days ago. We saw how our young men were killed and set ablaze. We saw how they massacre our guys as though they were flies. Their bodies set ablaze. For what? Because they could not defend themselves. We saw what happened in Kupe Maninguba. This is it occurs on a daily basis. Why are our guys dying like flies? when money has been raised, the agency has supported every collaborative initiative in this struggle just to make sure that Ambazonians come together to fight against the occupier. But every effort that we have put forth has been sabotaged by the same IG that you people keep standing and supporting. There is no government in this revolution for now. The earlier we get this and begin to focus on ground zero and begin to put our materials where we need to put them to defend our people, we will return to a homeland that is without young men. The same people have preached nothing, but we have the other one that calls themselves Gary Master. You call our people, you have instilled in our guys a level of wickedness where they now go about chopping the hands of our people, killing our people in their numbers, chop people's hands. As though that is not enough, they kill the people at the same time. We cannot be an Ambazonia where we will go home and have the situation of Sierra Leone, where we have people with half legs, half hands, and all those things. We have to refocus and redirect this revolution. And the Ambazonian Governing Council is inviting you all to come on board this train and let us lead this revolution. Let us chase the occupier out of Ambazonia. We have attained international contenderhood. The Ambazonian Governing Council president came out and talked about consultative meetings that will be taking place in different parts of the world with international partners. I am happy to announce to Ambazonians that indeed these meetings have been taking place and the result will be announced to Ambazonians, and Ambazonians will for themselves see this result on the ground to appreciate the job that the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council is doing for the revolution. The vice president of the Ambazonian Governing Council is equally speaking with stakeholders, respective stakeholders of the Ambazonian revolution, making sure that we bring people together because of the international contenderhood that Ambazonia has attained through the Ambazonian Governing Council. So the vice president of the Ambazonian Governing Council is currently having consultative talks with various stakeholders of the Ambazonian revolution, and result of this will be made known to the people of Ambazonia. They will be visible for all Ambazonians to see. The last time we talked about the chairlady of the mission of council coming out to announce and put forward an open invitation for our people to join the Ambazonian Governing Council. This has been very well planned, and this will be coming up in the next days. She will be coming out to present to the people of Ambazonia why she feels or why it's necessary for us to rally behind the Ambazonian Governing Council to prosecute this revolution. We have lost a lot of life. There is need for us to refocus. There is need for us to rally behind those who can produce result. The agency has a roadmap. The agency has a strategy. The agency is able. It has the leadership that can actually take Ambazonians, that can lead this revolution and chase the occupier out of Ambazonia. We have experimented enough. The lives of our young men have been destroyed enough. It is time for us to put a stop to this madness. It is time for us to put a stop to the extortion of our people and redirect our resources where we will see result. Our people on the ground are dying because they do not have materials to defend themselves. The Ambazonian Defense Forces, the money that has been raised by the Ambazonian Defense Forces, the results are there for all to see. You can see the number of AKs that the Ambazonian Defense Forces have on the ground. We did not raise 1.8 million US dollars. We did not raise 700,000 US dollars. Devoted Ambazonians who understand the gymnasts on the ground, who understand the pain of our mothers and our fathers on the ground, felt it necessary to buy these weapons to give to our guys to keep them alive so that they can defend Mother Ambazonia and bequeath to the future generation a free homeland. These were devoted people who spent that, who did not stop spending to make sure that these guys have weapons. You have given enough, and enough has been wasted. Resources have been wasted. Lives have been wasted. It is time for us to rise, sit back, and take the revolution from the hands of those who want to use it to enrich themselves, from the hands of those who are actually using the revolution to experiment, from the hands of those people who do not care about the killings on the ground, from the hands of those people who preach nothing but hate. The Ambazonian Governing Council and its leadership has always stood for the freedom of Ambazonia. On several occasions, it has launched projects that could have liberated Ambazonia long before now. But people stepped in and sabotaged it, paid activists to sabotage it. When Ambazonian Governing Council launched the project Mami Api, it was meant for us to have control over the airspace and over the land. It was sabotaged. The IG came out and launched a project in the name of My Trip to Buea, asking you to pay tickets to Buea where there is no airport in Buea, with no airline, with no aircraft taking you to Buea. You put in $1,800,000 US dollars. Not a single AK was bought from that money. The only thing that money did was send our young men to their early graves. Generals upon generals were sent to their early graves. Generals who could today stand and chase La Republic out of Ambazonia. They identified those genuine generals who could stand and face La Republic and brought them down untimely. They did nothing but brought confusion on the ground, stealing on people's credit, trying to make relevance, trying to impose on people, trying to make people, trying to subdue people and be master over us, demonstrating the same character or attitude that La Republique du Cameroon is putting up against Ambazonia. What La Republique is doing is a level of master-slave relationship. And that is what the IG has been doing. If you don't come under us, then you will not exist. And our people have been so gullible that they've allowed themselves, they refuse to put on their thinking caps and decide to follow sheepily without reasoning. And this has cost us our lives. It has cost us the lives of our young men, our women, our mothers, our fathers, our communities, and our properties on ground zero. It is time for us to sit back, think, and redirect the course of this revolution. How can you move from this level of extortion, the level of negligence, the level of allowing the enemy to parade our street without being attacked, to the level where we can actually make sure that nobody steps in our territory and go out scot-free. The Ambazonian Governing Council is offering you that platform, that leadership that can give you direction, that leadership that can actually plan and execute what is needed on the ground for the enemy to be chased out of that territory. We have to be wise and stand up at this point of the revolution. Our lives have been, the lives of our young men have been cut short in the hundreds, in the thousands. We cannot continue to watch our young men die every day. There is need for us to rise and stop the killing on the ground. And this will be done when we begin to think, when we begin to look at what has been happening in the revolution from its inception to now. Who are those people that have been consistent in what they do? The Ambazonian Governing Council has been there. It's been talking about self-defense. It has not moved from that self-defense. It has stood and said there is nothing like federation and any other thing but an outright independence for Ambazonia. All those who have been flip-flopping, we can see in their various policies and what this has caused the revolution. It has cost us lives. It has cost us resources. There is need for us to stand and do the right thing at this point of the revolution. We have attained international contenderhood. We need Ambazonians of goodwill. We need Ambazonians with skills. We need Ambazonians who understand that there is need for us to liberate homeland, to step up and join the moving train so that we can actually prosecute this revolution effectively and save the lives of our people. We cannot afford to bury our young men every day and night because we are so gullible, because we allowed ourselves to be deceived, because we are so easily deceived by sweet talks and we cannot reason. The IG has not offered Ambazonians anything. They have offered us pain. Chris Ano is known for his lies. Dr. Sako Ekome is known for his lies. We have seen financial statements where they have squandered Ambazonian money that would have been used to save Ground Zero. If we had just half of that money or 1/3 of that money, the story would be different on the ground. We have heard Chris Ano come out and give people ultimatums. Hurricane promised people this, and none of this has happened. And I don't know when this will happen. If they had 1.8 million and were unable to effectuate all these promises, I don't know if it will be now that they have known that they will be able to deliver to Ambazonia. We have to rise up and take this revolution back. We have to rise up and take back our revolution. It is time for Ambazonians to open their eyes, wear their thinking caps, and join the moving train. We have seen the failures of the IG, and there is no more room for them to distract this revolution. They stepped in and distracted self-defense on the ground. They distracted self-defense on the ground. People who have no understanding of self-defense became masters of self-defense, became supreme commanders of self-defense, and they're trying to speak self-defense when they know nothing about self-defense. They sabotage the efforts of those who are masters of self-defense, who are masters of running a revolution, who understand the regime, who understand how they can actually bring down the regime. They sabotage them. They pay people to smell, promote a smear campaign against the people, the persons, and everything, just to destroy the efforts of the few who are dedicated to free this homeland, to free homeland. In course of it all, the lives of our mothers have been lost. In course of it all, we have no more youth in Ambazonia. In course of it all, our young girls, our mothers have been raped in the most dehumanized way by the forces of La République du Cameroon, forcing them, rape some, kill them, and dump them. In course of all this distraction, because people want to prove a point, because they want to consolidate power, because they don't want to look because they want to keep sweet-talking Ambazonians and extorting money from them and enriching themselves. We have lost the finest of generals on the ground. We have lost the generals who were able to inflict pain on La République du Cameroon. We have lost our best fighters because they lack weapons. We have lost our best fighters because they were sold out by our own people, because our people have been tired of being extorted, because our people have been tired of being kidnapped and asked of ransom. They have succeeded in straining relationship between the community and the fighters. Because of this, the fighters are every day, the hideout are being sold by our own people because they are tired of the harassment from our people. Why were our people harassing, why are fighters harassing our own people? Because fighters were decamped from their various camps, promised money which they never received. Because of this, they were unable to go back to their original groups, and in order for them to survive, they started kidnapping, extorting from the community just to survive. Whereas people sit in the diaspora, promising them money that they never gave to them. We have to stop, and we have to be able to redirect this revolution. Ground zero is bleeding. If you are that Ambazonian that is still sitting on the fence, claiming that you don't know where to belong, I can tell you that is irresponsibility. You have to identify. You have to take a track record of this revolution when you first step in. Who has been consistent? Who has been delivering? Who has been delivering results to the people? Who has been doing what? Where have you put your money? Has that money yielded result? If you take your time to analyze all this, you will be able to know who stands for the revolution and who doesn't stand for the revolution. You will be able to know where to put your skills and your resources. You will be able to know where you can actually step in and provide the required materials that is needed for our people to stay alive. Amberlanders, we can no longer keep lying to ourselves. We can no longer keep saying we have to do this to protect the revolution. We have said this long enough. In the name of protecting the revolution, hundreds of our guys have been killed on ground zero. In the name of protecting the revolution, not telling the truth to the people, not speaking truth to power, hundreds of our guys have been killed on the ground. More communities are being raised down because we do not have what it takes to protect our various communities from the invaders. Because of this rhetoric of trying to protect the revolution and not telling the people the honest truth about what is happening, more than half of Ambazonia is raised down because we have refused to tell the truth, call leaders to account, provide the guys on the ground with what they need. It is about time we begin to speak the truth, call a spade a spade. There is nothing like a government in the Ambazonian revolution. There is nothing like a government. We have no government. Stop putting your money where people will continue to use it to enrich themselves. Stop putting your money where people will continue to use it for their personal interest and to consolidate their positions in power. Using the same money you gave to them to protect your lives, the lives of your family members back at home, to protect the lives of your people, to save the lives of fighters or to provide fighters with weapons. Stop giving money to the people who don't understand what it means to sleep in bushes. Stop giving your money to people who don't even have the interest of the revolution at heart, those who only have plans of taking you to Yaoundé and not to Buea. Buea is common. Everybody thinks we want to go to Buea. The question you should ask yourself after sitting down and analyzing situation is, who really wants us to get to Buea? If you have given me $100,000, I am unable to buy just a single AK to provide to the guys on the ground to keep them first alive before even delivering a free homeland to Ambazonia. Do I honestly want to get to Buea? Do I honestly want to take Ambazonia or want to host the flag in Buea? If you have given up to $1 million and people are using up to $30,000 for birthday Jesus Christ, are these the people who wants to take us to Buea when they have been unable to purchase just a single AK that costs $1,650? Are these the people who wants to take us to Buea? We have to sit down, reflect, and ask ourselves questions. The IG has failed, and there is nothing we can do about it. We've been quiet way too long because we want to protect the interests of the revolution. The Ambazonian Governing Council has always, if there is ever any collaborative platform or initiative that has ever been brought forth and the Ambazonian Governing Council didn't take part in it, let Ambazonians come up and say it. We have always, because of the pain of our people on the ground, because we put Ambazonian first, because we understand what is happening on the ground, for a reason for us to come together and fight against the enemy. Put our signature on every collaborative platform to make sure that Ambazonians work together to give our people a free homeland. But in every effort that the Ambazonian Governing Council has made, the IG or any other have sabotaged it. We supported, we went to the various conclaves to make sure that Ambazonian comes together, work together, and free homeland together. We attended the various conclaves. When we called for the Canadian initiative to a neutral body that could actually provide solution to the infighting and the sabotage, the smear campaign that took over Facebook, and losing focus on the enemy while the enemy continued to fight, to kill our people, the same IG stepped in and sabotaged it, claiming they cannot travel. But today I see financial statement with travel expenses of thousands of US dollars. We still gave up everything. We traveled to the US to make sure that Ambazonians work together. The Ambazonian Governing Council has always worked in good faith for the people of Ambazonia, making sure that our people are free. But others have deliberately sabotage every effort put forth by the people, by the Ambazonian Governing Council. If you are for the freedom of Ambazonia, how is it possible that Ambazonia is registered within an international organization and you go to sabotage the registration of Ambazonia in the international organization? If truly you want to internationalize our case and make the world know what is happening, the genocide that is ongoing in Ambazonia, are these the same people who actually want the freedom of Ambazonia? Are the people you're looking up, are those the people the people you want to listen to? The same people who come and lie to you about diplomatic achievements, about diplomatic stride that they've made, that they've done nothing. Amberlanders, we have to rise up, put on our thinking cap, and do the right thing. Chris Anu has done nothing but lie to Ambazonians, cause confusion in this struggle, sabotage even the struggle at the level of the international community, calling on Ambazonians to attack United Nations personnel and properties in Ambazonia, stating all sorts of lies in Ambazonia. Chris Anu came out and said Cho Ayaba was sponsored by Atanganji. The Canadian initiative was sponsored by Atanganji, and the same people who organized the Canadian initiative were the same people who actually ended up organizing the DC conference. And you ask yourself, if this conference by the same people who were planning the Canadian initiative were working for Atanganji, how come the same people were able to organize a conference and actively participate in the DC conference? Lying to sabotage every collaborative effort that people had to bring the suffering of our people to an end. You have to start looking at all these things and ask yourself questions. Are these people actually there to take us to Boya? Or are they just sitting there to make money for themselves, eat, grow fat, and be wealth around them? Change cars, change dresses, and change houses. Is this what you want? The same people who are trying to sabotage another, they have a way of always trying to make sure it is their way or no way. They sabotage the Canadian initiative because they wanted it to be their way. We said for the sake of peace, we would do it for Ambazonia. They brought the DC conference. They used Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba to raise money, and the money that was agreed to be sent to Ground Zero for our fighters, not a dollar was sent on the ground. 50,000 would have bought us enough AKs to defend even Boya, that is our capital. They did nothing. Amberlanders, rise up. We cannot continue to keep going back and forth over the same thing. We have to rise up and speak the truth the way it is and be able to refocus and take this revolution where it's supposed to be. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the records are there for you to follow. Follow his records from day one when he stepped in and introduced to the Ambazonian people the block-by-block mechanism, the phase one of this revolution. When he came and talked about self-defense, when he came and talked about content, the need for internationalization of this case, of Ambazonian case, what the AGC has done to make sure that Ambazonia's case was taken to the international level. We introduced, he traveled to London to speak about the Ambazonian case, but it was used against him, but still he never gave up the effort to make sure that Ambazonia attained international contenderhood. Today we say Ambazonia has attained international contenderhood. We don't say AGC or the Ambazonian Governing Council has attained international contenderhood. So we are calling on Ambazonians to rise up. Rise up and ask yourself questions and follow the organization that has a track record, that has proven itself, that has stood the test of time and is able and is working tirelessly to deliver to the people of Ambazonia a free homeland. The leadership is there, and we want Ambazonians to trust in that leadership. Trust in that leadership that has been consistent. Trust in that leadership that has not faltered. Trust in that leadership that even amidst all this distraction, it has stood the test of time. It has the ability to deliver to the people. Yes, it does. It has proven itself, and it will continue to fight for the freedom of Ambazonia. If we truly want to end the suffering on ground zero, we have to put on our thinking hats. We have to ask ourselves questions. What do we want? If we keep following these people, how long are we going to keep burying our children? Will we continue to bury our children for the next 20 years? If we follow this one, how long are we going to get freedom? You have to choose for yourself. And to you, Lawrence, Tabisco, if we have 20,000 OLDs to sign to make sure that Ambazonia is free, I can tell you on this platform that the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council will sign those OLDs and liberate Ambazonia from this suffering and save our guys from being massacred on a daily basis and save our mothers from the pain of burying their own children or digging graves to bury their own children. They will sign those OLDs to make sure our young girls grow with dignity. They will not grow and be victims of rape and will suffer psychologically for the rest of their lives. We will sign those OLDs and free Ambazonia and rebuild Ambazonia and send our children back to school and build our schools and an educational system that will free our children from mentalities like yours. So we will sign those OLDs. Ambazonia needs freedom, and there will be, and if there is any OLD to sign, I can promise you that the leadership will sign those OLD and free Ambazonia. It will be better for us to sign OLDs and free Ambazonians than collect monies and from Ambazonians meant for the liberation of our struggle and will be and use it for personal gains. So don't think by coming here to say OLD masters and all that is going to move us. No, it's not going to move us. It was, we will continue to fight. We will continue to use what is available to make sure that our people are free. So if you think signing OLD is a bad deal, no, it is not a bad deal. It is indeed a good deal for Ambazonia. So Ambalanders, we are calling on you. The Ambazonian Governing Council and its leadership is calling on you to stand steadfast, look at what has been happening in this revolution, who is giving you what is needed for the revolution, and make a decision. Do you want to remain a slave? Do you want to continue bearing our people, or there is need for us to actually come together and work for the freedom of our people? There is need for us to revisit the reason why we are fighting. If the pain, if the killings on the ground do not move you, then I am not sure you are indeed for this revolution. If the way our guys are being buried on a daily basis in mass graves does not move you, then I am not sure you are for this revolution. If you see our mothers fleeing the communities, running into bushes, and still they follow them in the bushes and kill them, if things like that do not move you, then I am sorry, I am not sure you are for this revolution. It is time for us to sit back and reflect and ask ourselves, what do we want? We are offering that opportunity for Ambazonians to actually sit back and work together and give our people a free homeland. So let's stop the killing on the ground. Let's stop the suffering of our people. Our communities have all been destroyed. There is need for us to get back, to come together and work for the freedom of our people. So on this note, I really want to thank everybody who's been here today. And I'll continue to say, like the president said the last time that he came up, indeed, consultative talks are going on behind the scene. And the result will be presented to the people of Ambazonia. On ground zero, I can promise you the defense chairman is working tirelessly to make sure that Ambazonia becomes a contender on ground zero. We said we are going to negotiate from a point of strength, and that is going to happen. Dr. Choluka doesn't just come out to talk or to please anybody. He doesn't make promises. He delivers. He said he was going to make Ambazonia a contender. He did it. And we should all be proud of what we've all done. We should all be proud of the efforts we've been putting together to make sure that Ambazonia becomes a contender. So we are calling on you to come on board. Believe in that person that has never changed his position. That person who has never move from one flip-flop from one level to another. He has been consistent. And trust in that leadership. Rally behind him, fall behind him, and we will get to Boya sooner than expected. So I want to thank you all very much for taking our time to be here. I understand Lucas is also online. Thank you all very much. And the happenings in the revolution should really prick our consciences so that we can ask ourselves questions, genuine questions, put on our thinking caps and stop being gullible and stop moving around from one post to another on Facebook insulting. That is not going to stop the killings on the ground. It is rather going to continue promoting the hate and all that. So let us stop and wear our thinking caps for once. We are the 21st century generation, the never again generation. We cannot behave like our forefathers in the 1500s or so. This is the 21st century. So I thank you all very much for your time, and I'll be coming up with more updates on the internationalization of the Ambazonian case, and also about the contenderhood or whatever that I will be assigned to do. I will definitely bring it to your notice, and thank you very much for your attention, and God bless us all. Have a good evening.